Okay, so good evening everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here, so thank you Gal for inviting me. My 5 points, I'm just going to tell you quickly what they are, besides the last questions, and I'm going to spoil it straight away. As Gal said, my name is Silvia Nacamulli, and the name of my business is Cooking for the Soul, and that's really the name of the talk tonight, because that's what I do, or what I try to do. I try to cook for the soul and from the soul. I specialize in Italian Jewish cooking, and what inspires me and what inspired me when I started over 10 years ago is my love of food and the joy of feeding and the joy of sharing both the food and the culture and my background and everything that encompass that. My main challenges, the challenges actually change through time, at the beginning of a business, through the end, the middle, and where I are now, and I'm just going to touch base on them. My biggest dream at the moment, because dreams change, thankfully, it's a book. So if any of you has any tip, you're very welcome, but my book at the moment is really my hopefully next step. And the last question I said, I'm just going to hold it until the end. So while I'm actually going to talk about this, if you're okay, if there are some nuts in here, so if there's not some nut allergens, there's sugar and there is flour, so if any of you, there is some candied fruit and nuts. I baked them this afternoon. Yes, if you don't mind passing around. If you do, it's about one per person. What it's called is called pizza romana, and it's a traditional Roman Jewish dessert. They're little fruit cakes, somehow energy bars, and they're very fresh, baked this afternoon, and it's something that is very traditional from the ghetto in Rome. I am from Rome, not from the ghetto, and I'm a Roman Jew, and Jews in Rome have been there for over 2,000 years. And I really feel a sense of responsibility about having left Rome and wanting to keep the traditions alive. And these biscuits, usually actually they are sold in a small bakery in the ghetto, and they come big like this. So I'm actually sparing you just with a little one. And they're made for happy occasions, for weddings, for births, for bar mitzvahs, being a Jewish event. And what I do, I teach Italian Jewish cooking, and I also do general Italian cooking, and I cater from small dinner parties to large weddings or engagements. I try not to do more than 200. I kind of find it a bit difficult then. But I then do a lot of food delivery. If cookery courses in Italy, there's some prospects there for you if you want. They're almost sold out, but I'm going to do two, one in June or in October. In Umbria, and I've done Tuscany before. I've done it for years, and it's wonderful. And basically, we meet for 5 days, and we cook, and we do wine tasting, cheese tasting. So very Italian, indulging food. And then I write for the Jewish Chronicle, which is the main Jewish newspaper in London. I've been doing it for like over 6-7 years, and for other publication of things that I do. So it's kind of I never get bored, and I try to do as much as interesting things that I do. Now, as I mentioned, what inspires me is really the love of food. I grew up in an environment where the importance of food was paramount. Everything always happened in the kitchen, around the table. And everyone in my family cooks very well. And I realized once I left home that if I wanted to keep on eating as well, I had to kind of do it myself, or try to be inspired by other good chefs. And as I mentioned, I have a sense of responsibility of keep my traditions alive. So what is Italian Jewish cooking? Italian Jewish cooking is mainly a combination of two food worshipping cultures, which is the Italian one and the Jewish one. There is like an immediate reward about what I do. I cook, you eat, you're happy, I'm happy, and that moves on. I think it's really just a simple concept, but that's part of the beauty. When I started my business 10 years ago, I was going out with a barrister at the time, and now I'm married with an investment banking. So very, very different profession as mine. And one of the things that really I remember, or really made me think, is that the fact that they come home and they're really stressed and really have these long projects that go on months and months, and they kind of deal with people that are really worried and they are kind of stressed as them, and then at the end things may work out or may not work out, and if they work out there is barely a thanks and everything. And well, actually I realized that actually I wanted to work with the sunny side of people. Being Italian, and I came to London 14 years ago, I realized that the only way for me to be here was to bring the sun somewhere in my life, and that happened through food. And I work with the side of people that is positive, and they come to me to be happy, to share a happy moment, a happy happening in their life, and that brings me joy, to bring them joy. Now, everything, of course, has to do with moderation. So I believe that actually everything, all the food can be healthy if taken into moderation. So it's very important to be healthy in what you eat, and I've been really inspired from your talk so far. But I also have it inside of me so deep that food, and I think if you feel like having some fried food or a cookie from time to time, there's nothing wrong about that. And I think everything in balance. I'm not in an extreme, so everything in balance is right. Now about challenges. Challenges, they change, and they change throughout my career. At the beginning, of course, is how to set up a business. My background is very different. I did undergraduate in political science, and I have a master from the London School of Economics in international political economy. So I could have done very different kind of works. I've been to the European community and everything. But I always wanted to be my own boss and to have my own business. I never thought there would have been food. And I started as a bit of like in between jobs, and then people took me much more seriously than I took myself. And I really actually enjoyed what I was doing. And what I think it's interesting to share on that is that challenges change, and you don't always, I think, need to have a precise business plan, a precise kind of final goal. Meaning some people really need it, and maybe in an ideal world that would be great. But I think actually a successful business can work if you just kind of flow with things, and you are a positive person, and you have to have, of course, a good products and good customer service. I can tell you that if I would have probably created a business plan from the very beginning, I would probably end up doing a 9-to-5 job at the moment, because I would have broken all the, not met one target. So at the beginning I gave myself 6 months at a time, and then another 6 months, then 1 year. And every time I started as a cookery teacher, from small groups, and now I teach in front of like 200 people or things like this. So, and then catering, I didn't really want to be in catering, and then actually I started enjoying being in catering. And then say, why don't you start writing about this? And I said, okay. So I actually also learned to never to say never. And I've been asked to do Persian food, and I said, but I do Italian. I said, but I think you can do it. I said, okay. So, or can you come and cook on a boat, but there's not really a kitchen? I said, okay. So my approach is also just try, so yes, and take the challenge on. And now for the same clients, I'm doing their 4th kind of big event on another engagement party in 2 weeks' time. And, also no kitchen in a museum. But it's part of the challenge. I think challenges are there to be met, they are one of the drives that makes us go further. So they're not just the downside of what's the challenge and the difficulty of it, but it's really the next stepstone. I also always grown kind of organically, as mentioned on my business. I have to follow on, So also I never really look for a celebrity status as such. What I mean to that is that success, I think, is really what you define it to be. It's not what the media tells you what it is. It's what you really want to do and what you're happy with. And to find the right balance between work and a private life. I have 1.5-year-old twin girls, and they're really the joy of my life. But it's so important, my work as well. And to have a balance between the two, I think it's really important to my life, and to kind of keep it that way. My Mount Everest is the book. I've been working on the book for a long time. The publishing world is really hard. If any of you is in the publishing world or can any tips, then you're very welcome to come and talk to me. My next question, my question, just to finish, is really, when is the last time that through your work you worked with the sunny side of people? Thank you.